Michael Caine, and the squeal of brakes as it's all brought down there. Andy Britnell down in 7th place now and sliding even further down the order after a great run in qualifying. So it's Jordan, Guglielmi, Hindley, Caine, Short and McKellar. And then in the middle of 3 cars there is the 23 machine of Andy Britnell. It's getting very, very exciting for him. Riding with Jamie Campbell-Walter again, into Redgate again being passed. Campbell-Walter now with his arm back in the cockpit, knows he's got a major problem with the car, but seems to be determined to continue. There is Steve Sutcliffe, 27 machine, chasing Andy Britnell. And here, riding with Steve Guglielmi, Phil Hindley, going down the inside. Great move there. Doesn't quite happen as they go into McLean's, run up to Coppice as they crest the rise. Let's see if Guglielmi gets past here. No, he doesn't. Michael Caine, Martin Short right on the tail of that battle. And there again, the 27 car chasing Andy Britnell. That's Steve Sutcliffe. And this now is a chance for Michael Caine to have a look at Phil Hindley. Hindley nearer the camera, the black and white machine. Michael Caine getting a good run out of Coppice, but Phil Hindley holding the inside line. Well, let's have a look back here, coming down into the old hairpin. Problems for the TVR chairman, Peter Wheeler. Goes through the gravel and emerges on the other side to give the tyre barriers a little clout. Race leader Mike Jordan still running away from Steve Guglielmi. Phil Hindley trailing tyre smoke as he goes deep, deep into the corner. Michael Caine now coming past him. As we see it from Guglielmi's point of view, there was contact there between Hindley and Guglielmi. Didn't upset either driver hugely, I don't think, in terms of the setup of their car at any rate. Michael Caine rushing down into the old hairpin right behind Steve Guglielmi. Looks at the moment as though Guglielmi is the stopper in the bottle here. Jamie Campbell-Walter, headlights ablaze in the middle of the pack here. 69, Eugene O'Brien, that's the red and yellow quartered car ahead of him. He goes past him on the way into Hollywood, out of Redgate, the first corner. Now chasing James Patterson. Patterson stays to the inside. Campbell-Walter looks to go around the outside into the old hairpin, and does. Goodness me, that was a pretty impressive move, mind you. Jamie has already done a 50-minute race, or half of it at least, around the track, so he's got a very good feel for conditions at Donington before getting into his TVR. Goes past the second works car, number 12, Dave Bentley driving that. TVR entering a car for Chairman Peter Wheeler and a second car in most of the races. Well, Mike Jordan and Michael Caine first and second, long gone. Steve Guglielmi in 3rd place, fighting off Phil Hindley. Martin Short and Ian McKellar behind, and contact! Well, Hindley made contact with the back of Guglielmi's car, under braking there, going into McLean's, loses the place again on the way out. Short goes past him. McKellar is right there as well. You can see the psychology being involved here with the headlights glaring in the mirrors to try and distract the attention of the driver ahead. Guglielmi's car certainly not slow in a straight line, and the battling trio behind won't be helping themselves. Short on the inside, so is Hindley. Does that leave McKellar stuck out on the outside? No, he gets his nose in between the two of them somehow as they go through Goddard's. Problems here for Grant Tromans in the number 19 machine, starting in 11th place, trailing smoke of some kind. Martin Short, another demon outbraking manoeuvre down the inside to hold off Ian McKellar and Phil Hindley. Oh, they're going 3 abreast. Oh, incredible stuff. And Short gets squeezed out between them. Mike Jordan in 1st, Michael Caine in 2nd, Steve Guglielmi in 3rd place here. And then the battle for 4th, McKellar, Hindley and Short in that order, but not necessarily that order at the end of the lap. Jamie Campbell-Walter picks up another spot going into Redgate. Oh, understeering all over the place. Hand out of the cockpit in disgust. What on earth is going on? Sorry about that, he says to Grant Tromans, who goes right by him on the outside. Well, let's see what he can do now. Tromans with damage on the right rear of the car. That's why it's trailing smoke, clearly. Meanwhile, here come the battling threesome. McKellar right on the inside. Hindley couldn't get inside him. Short trying to stay around the outside. And will he do it? He's just waving there at Phil Hindley. Excuse me, I'm going through here if you don't mind. Race leader Mike Jordan. Haven't seen much of him since the start. Rather boring race for him. Still the battle for 4th place. Short in the middle of it now. McKellar at the front. He's 4th. Short in 5th. But Mike Jordan romping away here to the checkered flag. Absolutely dominant performance from pole position to take victory in the first race of round 9. Second, Michael Caine. Third, Steve Guglielmi. And fourth at the line will be Ian McKellar, surely from Martin Short in 5th. And Phil Hindley, the reigning champion, in 6th position. But it is victory for the ex-Porsche racer. Mike Jordan wins the first part of round 9 at Donington Park. Race 2 of round 9 of the TVR Tuscan Challenge. Mike Jordan, winner of race 1 on pole from Ian Flux, Michael Caine and Steve Guglielmi. And another electrifying start, again from 6th position on the grid for Martin Short. This time he does find the gap in between the front row men. He goes into the first corner in 2nd place. Guglielmi around the outside of Short and running wide. There is Ian McKellar, there is Martin Short, so Guglielmi's fast outside line worked for him there. Short in 3rd place, the green machine. Race leader Mike Jordan, 2nd Steve Guglielmi, 3rd Short, 4th McKellar, 5th is Michael Caine. We ride in 7th place with Steve Sutcliffe over the grass. Keep the steering straight, don't you dare try and turn that wheel while you're on the power on the grass, young man. Doesn't and keeps it on. Here comes Jordan then, Guglielmi, Short, McKellar, Michael Caine in 5th place. Steve Cole in 6th place. Phil Hindley right behind them. There he is in the next group of cars. Michael Caine a long way down the order, the man who finished 2nd in race 1. Eugene O'Brien there, getting caught up with Ed Sharp, the number 60 machine, as they go through Coppice. And down the inside comes Steve Sutcliffe. Great move. Can he hold it together? Yes, he does. Gets past Michael Caine under braking, and there's not too many people can do that too often. Riding with Jamie Campbell-Walter, he had a slow puncture in race 1, which caused all his handling problems, incidentally. Qualified in 12th place for this one, right behind the number 1 machine of reigning champion Phil Hindley. And a great scrap going on here, and up ahead of him as well. First 2 again away. McKellar, Short, Caine, Cole. Then the number 7 machine. That's front row starter Ian Flux, and he is right ahead of the battle between Jamie Campbell-Walter and Phil Hindley. We ride now with Steve Sutcliffe. Oh, under braking, a little chirrup of the tyres there. He's really trying to catch Michael Caine. We've already seen him pass him once. Caine passed him back around the outside. And the battle continues. Jamie Campbell-Walter there, 28 car. And he is now chasing Ian Flux because Phil Hindley has gone past Fluxy as well. The 7 machine started 2nd on the grid, really sliding down the order. Mike Jordan leads, Steve Guglielmi 2nd, Ian McKellar 3rd. Michael Caine pushed wide in 4th as Martin Short spins. Oh, that's a big disappointment for Martin Short. Gyrates the car round under power and gets going again, but what a disappointment there. Steve Cole now in 5th place, Phil Hindley in 6th. And then Ian Flux running wide in 7th place ahead of Jamie Campbell-Walter. And Martin Short down in the 20s now. Mike Jordan, runaway winner of race 1, running away again from Steve Guglielmi in race 2 here. Looking back from Guglielmi, that's Ian McKellar in 3rd place. There is Martin Short picking up places into the old hairpin, and thumbs up in thank you to Tim Hood, who he just went past there for giving him a bit of racing room. Here come the breakaway 2 though. Plenty of space there for Mike Jordan to capitalise on that. Ian McKellar in 3rd, Michael Caine safely away in 4th place now. Steve Cole in 5th, they'll Phil Hindley in 6th position with the black nose to his car. Right behind him is this battle. Ian Flux ahead of us as we ride with Jamie Campbell-Walter. Marker posts being spat out all over the place. They're only very thin plastic though. It's not like a wooden post bouncing off the windscreen. 1, 2, 3, 4 they go through there. Michael Caine, then Steve Cole, Phil Hindley, Ian Flux, Jamie Campbell-Walter, and then the battle between Richard Finney, the Porsche racer, and number 10 Steve Hyde. Let's have a look again here at the incident as Martin Short tries to go inside Michael Caine, gets it wrong, brakes extra hard to try and avoid the contact that he can't quite avoid, and spins as a result. Well, Short looking to make a move and then realising it wasn't going to happen, trying to back out of it, but it's not always possible. These cars have little or no margin for error, never mind when you're trying to outbrake somebody. Michael Caine now trying to do the same thing. This is for 3rd place. Neatly inside Ian McKellar. And safely out of Goddard's. Jamie Campbell-Walter still behind Ian Flux, who in turn is still behind Phil Hindley, who in turn is still behind Steve Cole. Michael Caine fighting off Ian McKellar in the foreground. And then these four jinking and diving around. Flux can't get past Hindley, can't shake off Campbell-Walter. Riding again with Jamie. Into Hollywood and down the Craner curves we go. Foot to the boards they go. Ed Sharp on the outside line, the orange car there, still fighting with Eugene O'Brien. Great battle going on there. Michael Caine still not under threat from Steve Guglielmi, but if he relaxes for just a moment, the 6 car will be on him. Guglielmi keeping him honest, and Phil Hindley finally gets past Steve Cole. Cole now right ahead of Jamie Campbell-Walter as Ian Flux is dropping out of the picture there on the back, and somebody else goes round. That's 23, Andy Britnell, as Steve Cole in the foreground tries to pick up a position again from Phil Hindley. Doesn't happen, and Jamie Campbell-Walter gets inside him. Big chance now for Campbell-Walter to keep the move together. Down the Craner curves, they're still side by side. Can Jamie turn in nice and tight? Yes, he does. He's got the place and off. In the gravel at Redgate goes Andy Britnell. Started the first race from 3rd place and now ends the second in ignominy with the rattle of gravel. Well, Michael Caine still holding off Ian McKellar. That's for 3rd and 4th place as Andy Britnell bails out. He's safely enough out of the way, I think, for it not to affect the race for anybody but himself. And problems here. A puncture for Steve Hyde. Well, that will take him out of the battle that he was enjoying with Richard Finney in no uncertain terms. Can't really continue with a tyre in that kind of condition, can you? Well, action among the front runners, action among the midfield as well. David Porter there in the middle of his battle, down in the mid-20s. But another victory for Mike Jordan, ahead of Steve Guglielmi, and double wins at Donington lift him up into 5th position in the championship, which is still being led by Ian McKellar. Round 10 of the TVR Tuscan Challenge in beautiful sunny weather at Snetterton in Norfolk, and again another interesting format. Qualifying session, and drivers from the qualifying session racing in 2 heats. The drivers who qualified 1st, 3rd, 7th, 9th and so on the grid in this heat, led away by Michael Caine and Mike Jordan, who were 1st and 3rd in qualifying. Oh, contact on the left-hand side, the dark green car, Steve Sutcliffe hit Phil Hindley. Lock-up brakes there from Richard Finney, and contact again. Sutcliffe once more hitting the number 1 machine. The reigning champion must have been slow away there, riding with Steve Sutcliffe. There is Hindley trailing tyre smoke, and Sutcliffe looks as though he may have been handling difficulties as well here. Well, now that's a very bizarre run into the first corner. Normally Phil Hindley among the quickest men. Michael Jordan, Michael Caine. Jordan on the outside as Caine goes down the inside to reassume the lead, and contact once more. Steve Sutcliffe, who's he hit this time? Well, he was hit from behind, chasing Ian McKellar. Holds it all together through the S's. You would have to guess, without having seen that one from the outside, that it must have been Phil Hindley, since he was the man that Sutcliffe was passing on the straight. Caine, Jordan, McKellar, 1, 2, 3. Sutcliffe in 4th, Hindley trailing clouds of smoke in 5th place. Right behind him, everybody else. Richard Finney leading, and then Steve Cole behind him. Into the pits goes Hindley. His race is over. He's had enough already. Through there goes Simon Harris, the 45 machine. He's dropped right down the order. Replay of the start with Steve Sutcliffe. We pass Harris. That's McKellar ahead of us, and the white tail end there is Phil Hindley's machine. Contact just holds on to that one. Go down the inside. Phil Hindley still ahead, but seems to slow. Maybe because McKellar was coming across his bows. Doesn't really get onto the power. Maybe a missed gear there in the middle of the corner. Now with Phil Hindley coming into the S's, and doesn't quite get it together there. I wonder whether he had a gearbox problem, maybe not allowing him to select gears properly. But just couldn't quite stop it there, it seemed, at the S's, and tagged Sutcliffe. Back to the race then. Michael Caine leading, and Mike Jordan trying to go around the outside into the S's. It looks like a move that shouldn't work, but it often does, as you get a wider entry. Sutcliffe all over the road behind. Big slide on the way in, thumps over the curbs. Well held indeed. Really got that one back from nowhere. Looks as though he may really have long-term problems, I think, from that first corner collision. That's probably deranged his steering and or his front suspension. So Mike Jordan back ahead then. Michael Caine second. And Ian McKellar in third place. Oh, goodness me. Well, it's all become too hard for Sutcliffe to handle. That car really all over the road, sliding furiously everywhere. Steve Cole leads the rush past him. And I think Sutcliffe may pay a trip to the pits as well. Jordan from Caine and McKellar, that's where the race is going to be fought out. No, it's not, because Mike Jordan's got his arm out of the cockpit. He's got a mechanical problem of some kind, and he is pulling over. So it's now Michael Caine and Ian McKellar battling for the lead, and I would think that Mike Jordan will also head for the pits. Well, there is Sutcliffe, despite that spin and what is obviously a very evil handling TVR, continuing to press on. Caine holding on from McKellar. And big slide on the exit there. Can he hold it across the line? Yes, he does so. They rush on. Behind them, Steve Cole, Richard Finney, John Kent. And Mike Jordan coming into the pits as he's passed by Gary Britnell. Race lead under contention as Ian McKellar tries to go around the outside and holds on there. These two having a great close quarters battle. Now McKellar with the checkered noseband is on the inside line, but again the outside line proves beneficial here. Michael Caine allowing himself a much wider approach to the corner, can run in deeper on the brakes and hold on. Replay here then of the Russell chicane. Oh dear. Well, it was trying to get away from him on the way in. Steve Sutcliffe held it there, but unfortunately then, as the slide was ensuing, he had to turn in the opposite direction, and that didn't really help. Problems here in the middle of the pack. Nigel Feeney and James Steventon spinning behind him after they'd made contact. They're in the group right behind chairman Peter Wheeler, battling for 10th place. Now past them goes the number 1 machine of Phil Hindley. He's back out from the pits as Michael Caine building up a comfortable advantage in the closing stages from Ian McKellar. There is McKellar in second place. So victory in this first heat will go to Michael Caine, the fastest man of all the TVR Tuscans in practice here at Snetterton. Ian McKellar will take second. Steve Cole some way back in third place, nearly 20 seconds behind the runaway leader. So Caine from McKellar, Cole, Finney, Kent and Sutcliffe, the result of the first heat. Phil Hindley finishing 11th despite visiting the pits, and even Mike Jordan managed to make it to the end. Martin Short heads up the grid for the second heat from Steve Guglielmi, Troy Dunlop, Ian Flux, Gavin Cooper and Eugene O'Brien. Not a very good getaway there on the inside from Troy Dunlop, but Martin Short rocketing away. Steve Guglielmi in second place, Ian Flux into third, Dunlop fourth. Then Gavin Cooper goes through into fifth place as Eugene O'Brien loses a spot away from the line. Off onto the dirt on the outside goes Jeff Evans. No damage done, although plenty of time lost, and he rejoins right at the tail of the field with a mountain still to climb. So Martin Short out front, there's Ian Flux in third place, and what a torrid season he has failed to enjoy, I think, probably. Steve Guglielmi chasing in second position. Well, after the bizarre turn of fortunes with mechanical disasters, incidents and accidents in the first heat, I wonder how this one will pan out. Martin Short, a regular front runner since his arrival in the series well over 3 years ago. Came in from racing Rover Saloons and has really adapted to the hugely powerful V8 TVR Tuscans. Riding now with Giles Cooper. He's chasing Grant Tromans. Tromans one of 3 drivers who fell foul of the TVR Tuscan Challenges rules on maximum number of laps in qualifying. You're only allowed 15 qualifying laps. Tromans didn't count them right and did 16 and so lost his best time. Steve Guglielmi still chasing Martin Short. Short runs wide. Makes a mistake coming out of Sear onto the long back straight, the Revit straight, and that's vital. Guglielmi gets past him right away. And Short's lack of momentum almost drops him into the clutches of Ian Flux as they get into the braking area at the S's. Very tight here. And Short with an arm out of the cockpit, waving Ian Flux by. No mistaking that signal, not from a man of Ian Flux's expertise. He goes by through into the bomb hole. And Martin Short seems to have a problem. Goodness me, they really are dropping by the wayside here. Well, now, having waved Flux by, he doesn't seem to have lost any time to him. Guglielmi leading. He's not coming into the pits, Martin Short. Now, he is losing time now, definitely. But the result of this race will affect their grid position for the main final race. So I'm sure Martin Short will want to stay out and finish as high as he can, even if he can't contend for victory here. Guglielmi from Flux. Oh, and a spin! Flux, he loses it. Dear, oh dear, Martin Short goes back up into second. It's a bit after you, Claude, at the moment. There's Troy Dunlop in 4th place. Behind him, Flux's teammate. That's Steve Hyde. So as Dunlop goes past Flux into 3rd, now Flux and teammate Hyde 4th and 5th. Behind him, the number 9 machine is Gavin Cooper. Then Tim Hood with Ashley Ward behind him. Eugene O'Brien has dropped down the order. Then Giles Cooper battling with Grant Tromans. Well, that's one we've seen from on board, and we go on board again with Giles Cooper. Between Ritchie's and Sear, the 2 right-handers that start the lap at Snetterton. Plenty of runoff area here on the exit. A little bit rough. It's not impossible to spin it there if you are a little bit ham-fisted. Well, closing stages now. Martin Short still ahead of Ian Flux. Now he's now back up ahead of Troy Dunlop. Steve Guglielmi miles away from this battle for 3rd place. Dunlop trying to look inside Fluxy there. No chance for him. Behind them, Gavin Cooper and Steve Hyde have changed places, and further back still, Giles Cooper trying to get past Grant Tromans. Tromans goes in very fast and very deep to get past a slower car and loses it. So Cooper there earlier on the brakes manages to pick up the place without doing anything other than staying on the track. Well, Steve Guglielmi romping away with this one. Nearly 5 seconds clear at the line, and Martin Short held up in the chicane there. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Martin Short with Ian Flux right with him. Oh, nearly a photo finish, but in fact, clearly there it's Flux who gets past, and Troy Dunlop got past Martin Short at the line as well. The 3 of them covered by the proverbial pocket handkerchief. The main race, round 10 of the TVR Tuscan Challenge at Snetterton. Well, the winner of the faster of the 2 qualifying heats was Michael Caine by 0.7 of a second. His heat was quicker. He lines up on pole then, and everybody in his heat lines up behind him. The man who won the slower of the 2 heats is Steve Guglielmi. He lines up on the outside of the front row of the grid, and everybody else in his heat will be on the even side of the starting rows. So that's very straightforward. It's Caine versus Guglielmi on pole position. Away they go. Slow start by Troy Dunlop from 6th place on the grid, riding with Phil Hindley. He had a bizarre qualifying heat. They had 2 collisions in the first corner and then struggled round after making it out of the pits. Steve Sutcliffe, the man who was involved in both those collisions, and he is also further down the order after handling problems with his car. Martin Short, Mike Jordan, and a whole host of other regular front runners also had mechanical problems of one kind or another, so the order fairly much shuffled up apart from the front few. Caine then in the lead. Ian Flux from 3rd on the grid behind him. And down into 4th place has gone Steve Guglielmi, because ahead of him also has come Ian McKellar. McKellar's 2nd place in his heat. Then Steve Cole is in 5th ahead of Troy Dunlop. Well, this is going to be fast and furious action, not only out front but in the midfield as well, as the front runners who had their problems earlier on in the heats try and reassert themselves. Flux, McKellar, 2nd and 3rd. McKellar in the 96 car. Looks like he might well win this year's championship. It's a very close battle at the top between him and Michael Caine at the moment. Reigning champion Phil Hindley's in 3rd. This man, Steve Sutcliffe, currently 4th in points, needs a better result here than he had in his qualifying heat. Right behind Troy Dunlop. And they are on the tail of this big group down at the bottom of the top 10. Well, Ian Flux, former champion, in 2nd place. Steve Guglielmi there is in 4th. Then Steve Cole. White car is Richard Finney. The green machine, 88, that's Martin Short. Short had problems of some kind in his qualifying heat. Now looks to be fully up to race speed. Going inside Finney. Let's see how that one sorts itself out right behind Steve Guglielmi here. Still in 4th place. Michael Caine still leading. Ian Flux a few car lengths behind him in 2nd place. McKellar, Guglielmi, then the blue car of Cole. Short gets ahead now of the 36 machine of Finney. And right behind them, Dunlop and Sutcliffe. Short now looking to make a move on the blue car ahead of him. And from our onboard camera, we see it all goes wrong. They both spin. Well, Martin Short spun on the inside of Steve Cole, collected him, hand out of the cockpit to say, I'm sorry, guys. Please try and avoid me. As you can see here from Matt Doman's camera, not the easiest thing to do in the middle of a tightly packed field. Well, Steve Cole gets away. And I fancy that perhaps Martin's short spin caused by a wayward moment from somebody ahead. There was a huge dust cloud on the exit of the corner. Somebody else goes off there, ahead of our cameraman Matt Doman. Perhaps Short spinning in avoidance of what he thought was going to be an incident. Possibly he just got it wrong in the bomb hole and lost it. Hard to tell. Steve Hyde there, right in the middle of the action. Giles Cooper right behind him. And they're chasing this man. Down into the braking area at the S's. Around the outside comes the blue machine of Steve Cole. And they're ticking away quietly to itself. It's the 33 car of Richard Stanton. 29, that is Richard Owen, getting it wildly wrong there and giving our cameraman a bit of a scare. Oh, Richard Finney getting it wrong as well on the exit to Russell. Past goes Sutcliffe, past goes Dunlop. Past also goes the number 9 machine of Gavin Cooper. And it looks as though Finney has got slightly more than a driver error problem. Again with Steve Sutcliffe now on the back stretch, the Revit straight down into the braking area for the S's. Troy Dunlop on the outside. If he can be brave enough, he'll take the place, and he is, and he does. Sutcliffe over the curbs, fighting back now. Through into the bomb hole, passing a slower car, so no chance to get alongside there. Little wag of the tail from Troy Dunlop's number 4 machine. As the dark green car really harries him now through Coram Curve. Down into the braking area for Russell. Down the inside he goes, makes the move. Nicely done, right behind them. The white, yellow and blue machine. Number 9 is Gavin Cooper. Behind them then is the next group of cars. Steve Hyde there, the number 10 machine. And Troy Dunlop fights back well. Takes his place back from Steve Sutcliffe. Now riding with Matt Doman. Doman on the tail of this group, chasing company chairman Peter Wheeler. Which company? Well, he's the chairman of TVR, actually, so don't go knocking him off or your spare parts will cost a lot more, Matt Doman. Peter Wheeler thoroughly enjoys his road cars, thoroughly enjoys his racing cars as well, and getting more and more proficient behind the wheel of the number 8 machine. Also tends to sport some pretty sexy colour schemes as they try out new paint schemes on the car. And Martin Short right in the thick of the action here. Goes around the outside of Nigel Feeney, racing here on his local circuit, the 86 car. Matt Doman still harassing Peter Wheeler. He's right behind that battle. Ahead of him, Feeney and James Patterson, the 2 white machines, and then Matt Doman goes inside Peter Wheeler. Good run through the bomb hole and into Coram Curve. Meanwhile, over the start-finish line, Phil Hindley trying to go down the inside of Giles Cooper. Does so, picks up 2 places there. Somebody else running wide on the outside. That's the 29 machine. Richard Owen, in fact, being lapped, so not another position. Sutcliffe under pressure now from Gavin Cooper. The number 9 car is right behind us. We ride with him into Coram. Ooh, was that contact there, or is he just having a problem with the car? Hard to tell. But it looks as though Cooper's broadside down the inside. Very late braking from both men. Sutcliffe forced to go over the grass to avoid the collision. And he loses the place. Arm out of the cockpit, the white nose of Steve Hyde. He's in trouble. Past him comes John Kent, the 99 machine at the head of this group. Well, John Kent with the reigning champion behind him. Again going inside Giles Cooper. That move won't stay put to bed. Grant Tromans goes past as well, the dark silver grey machine. And the battle for second place still very much alive. Ian Flux has it. He's the mainly white car there. Predominantly yellow machine in the middle of it. That's Ian McKellar ahead of Steve Guglielmi. Well, where's the leader? Michael Caine a long way ahead of them up the road. There he is, just disappearing out of shot. This is the next group here. Sutcliffe, Hindley, then John Kent, Grant Troman's behind him, and then Giles Cooper, number 15. John Kent, like Ian Flux, a former champion, and goodness me, Giles Cooper turns sharp right into the barriers. A big impact and a big spin across the road, loses a wheel as well. What on earth happened there? As he hit the brakes, the car turned sharp right into the barriers at the inside of Ritchie's. Oh, what a worrying moment for him. I'm sure he's very shaken after that one. Not just from the impact, but from the fact that it was completely unexpected. Let's see what happens here. Hard on the power, into the braking area. Whoa! And off he goes. He did not see that one coming, and I'm not surprised at all. Oh, dear me. Well, let's have a look again. He loses the back end somehow. Maybe that was a partial brake failure. The impact rips off a wheel as well. And off he goes into the gravel. Well, fortunately undamaged. The driver, if not the car. Checkered flag awaits Michael Caine as Ian Flux, the number 7 machine, romps away in second place, still holding off Ian McKellar and Steve Guglielmi. Here comes Caine, his advantage, the best part of 5 seconds to take victory. Flux will be second, a drag race between McKellar and Guglielmi that McKellar will win for third, and that's vital for the championship points. Michael Caine now closing up on Ian McKellar once more, less than 10 points in it. So Caine the winner, Flux in second place, McKellar in third. And in the championship, still everything to play for. Well, the British summer might be over. It may not be any longer time to drive your open-top sports car on the road, but still plenty of racing activity left in the TVR Tuscan Challenge. Round 11 at Castle